I want to share with you what has worked for me. I can't say that what I've done is clinically proven, but there has been a trend, and the trend in its foundation is that I've kept it simple and I've taken it one step at a time. I don't have MS, I have never been diagnosed with MS, but during my work as a physical therapist, I have met many people that have been correctly diagnosed with MS. And as a course of treatment for them, I found certain trends. If I ever get sick, and I know we all do, I try to understand the issue the best I can. And through understanding it, I find it easier to actually overcome it. So we're talking about MS and how allergies worsen the condition of multiple sclerosis. I just want to read out to you the actual definition in defining terms that I found on the web for MS. It reads this: multiple sclerosis is an inflammatory disease in which the fatty myelin sheaths around the axons of the brain and spinal cord are damaged, leading to the breakdown of the myelin sheath and scarring. MS affects the ability of nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord to communicate with each other. The nerve cells communicate by sending electrical signals called action potentials down long fibers called axons, which are wrapped in an insulating substance called myelin. In MS, the body's own immune system attacks and damages the myelin. When the myelin is lost, the axons can no longer effectively conduct signals. And it goes on to say that the name multiple sclerosis refers to scars, better known as plaques or lesions, particularly in the white matter of the brain and spinal cord, which is mainly composed of myelin. So essentially, your own immune system is attacking the very core of your being. Now, let's trace back to before you had MS. And a lot of people that have come to me over the years have said, it just came, it just happened. One minute I was fine, and the next minute I was just in pain, or I wasn't thinking straight, and it just seemed to happen overnight. Well, we know that that's not true, that there is a gradual problem occurring, not getting better, and actually becoming worse in the human body. But if you go back to before you actually were diagnosed with MS, and go back years, were you ever sensitive to anything, any fruit, nuts, meat even? So did you have an issue with digesting something like maybe pork? That's usually a common one that people tell me. I have problems digesting pork. And the other end of the spectrum, pineapple, melons. Quite a lot of people find that type of fruit difficult to consume in that it leaves their mouth feeling rough. It's highly acidic, and most of us can't take a lot of that type of food. A lot of people that have come to me with the correct diagnosis of MS have said, yeah, I had quite a lot of allergies previous to this condition coming about. But what is an allergy? An allergy is when we are not dealing with food stuff, and that could be liquid or solid. It could even be airborne, and our bodies basically are overloaded, and so when there's something that is, if you like, strong to deal with, come to you to deal with, we don't do a very good job of it. So we think of a mild food such as rice, because it's quite bland, it's not highly acidic, and that might be quite easy for us to deal with. So we eat it, it gets digested, we make use of it. Whereas I've said before, other foods which are in the category of strong, stimulants such as coffee, or highly acidic such as the pineapple or the melon that we talked about earlier. And so your body just can't deal with it. And so a reaction takes place. And then we think about, well, why can't your body deal with it? Perhaps there was a time before the allergies started to kick in where you were fine. You used to eat pork, drink coffee, eat chocolate without any kind of reaction at all. Your consumption of your foodstuffs was normal, and it all seemed to be just that, normal. So now we've gone back a little bit further before you even had a problem with allergies. What was going on in your life? What else do we feed our bodies with? Well, everything. Everything we do comes in. What we see, what we touch, what we hear, what we read about, what we participate in, who we are connected with. They are all our external environment, and they all carry a factor of how you are going to respond to them. And if you're pretty good at dealing with, say, a highly stressful situation, you'll know because your stomach doesn't turn over, your heart rate doesn't go up, and it's just part of your day, and for some reason that's part of your makeup. But then let's say you start to become sensitive to your environment. Something is going wrong at school, college, or work, in a relationship, whether it be with a spouse, a child, a parent, a sibling, and you just don't deal with it. And so your sensitivity levels go up. So part of your food, your environment that you can't get away from because it's life, is feeding you with stress. And that is actually creating a reaction in your body whereby a hormone is produced. And that hormone is responsible for you to either take flight from the situation or fight through the situation. But either way, it's an elevated rate of existence. It's not the laid back, easygoing, well, it's happened attitude. It's a heightened situation, and that situation isn't going away, and you're not dealing with it very well, and so the stress levels do go up, affects your blood pressure, affects the way you sleep, affects the way you think. Maybe you start to feel, well, I don't want to go out today, and that kicks in different kinds of hormones to the flight and fight hormones. It kicks in a hormone to dampen you down, and maybe then you start to feel depressed. So you have a whole cycle of issues going on because you can't control your environment. You can't control what's creating stress. You can't control what you're being fed with. But you can control how you deal with it. And that is the core to all healing, overcoming, moving forwards and away from a disease, an issue, getting better. How you deal with it. So we went back in time to before you had the diagnosis of MS, to allergies, to being sensitive, feeling frustrated, and all of that relating to the stress of your environment. Not being able to get away from that stress, but, and this is the key, not knowing how to deal with it. So, if we fast forward in time to now, and here you are, you've been diagnosed with MS. You know you have it, you have the symptoms of it. How can you bring the gap together? How can you take that stress, bring it to the present time, and deal with it? Can understand it. Can understand that you can't change people, you can only change yourself. And be happy with that. Let it go. You can deal with it by making yourself stronger in the way you think, knowing that you've done your best and the best is good enough for you. So what you're doing is changing the way you're thinking. You're rebuilding your core. And your core was being attacked by your own immune system to break down myelin sheath. Rebuild your core, rebuild the way you think, understand why you were thinking it, and say to yourself, well, that did me no good. That led me to a place where I'm sick. That led me to a place where I don't want to be. Understanding that the allergy has created an aggravation in your system isn't quite correct. It is the aggravating system or the aggravation on the outside that you've been fed with that has created the stress, the frustration, the sensitivity, the allergy, and the MS. Because everything on the outside creates something on the inside if you let it. So what's the simple thing to do to understand, well, I could be allergic to some things? Make a list. And every day that you eat, no matter what you eat, write it down. And then at the end of the day, note how you feel. Just keep a log. And if there's something that keeps coming up that causes you to maybe not sleep so well, be less restful, have less focus, be more agitated, then know that you need to take it out of your diet so that you can rebuild the inner core, so that you can give yourself a break from having to deal with too much. And the same applies for everything that you have to deal with. You may have to go to work, have to go to school or college. You have to live. But how can you change that so that you can have a break from it? Food is easy, liquids are easy. Your environment isn't quite so easy. So go back to how you think, how you feel about a situation. And like I said, know that you have done your best and you are personally happy with that best. You can't please everybody all of the time. That's what my dad used to say. And it's just true, and it will always be true. So learn to be happy with your efforts. Learn to relax. If you're always uptight, maybe you need to invest in a massage program, even if it's one of the massage tools that you plug in and they go through the cycles of vibration and various intensities. It's all about changing. It's all about relaxing, because at the moment that's not what you are. Your very condition is indicative of the opposite to being relaxed. Your condition tells you that your own immune system is basically attacking itself and damaging yourself. How are you breathing? What is your blood pressure? What is your goal? Write everything down. Everything that you eat, that you drink, everything that you watch on TV, listen to on the radio, every book that you read. And then look at it at the end of the day. Look at your log, your daily log, and ask yourself, this is my environment. Why am I watching a program or watching a movie that is causing more stress? Why am I doing that when I can change that part of my life? And if you can change 90% of your life, because that's pretty much what you can do. You can change what you eat, you drink. You can change anything that you choose to participate in terms of your leisure time. That's a big chunk of what you can change. And if you can change all of that, but there are certain areas of your life that you can't change, like you have to go to work, school or college, or you have to take the children to school, that's when you'll start to feel different, less stressful about those portions of your life that you can't change, because you've done all you can to make stress reduce in your life and not increase. Stress is the foundation of any disease, of any condition. If you have a stress-free life, or the highest proportion of your life is stress-free, because you've made it that way, then you can be rebuilt. You can be transformed. You can get to a place where you can live a much better life just because you changed part of your life for the better. It's like an equation. MS is the outpouring. Allergies were caused by sensitivity, which came from frustration, which came from stress. And it's a continuous equation, it's a loop, because the more unwell you feel, the more stressed you feel, and it just feeds itself. You have to break the equation, you have to break the cycle. Like I said, start with something simple. Know that it's a food or a liquid that you're consuming that could just take out as much as 50% of your stress load. What is your goal? I said earlier. Is your goal to be more active? Is your goal to be more calm? Is your goal maybe to even lose weight or gain some weight? You have to know what your goal is. You've got your daily log. How do you want to change it? And what will that give you? And then how can you build on that? Continually, perpetually improving, moving forwards, regaining, rebuilding. So we learn what MS is, what it does, and how allergies can aggravate the condition of MS. And a chain of events that have probably led to the allergies that you can reverse by yourself, just by looking at certain aspects of your life.